Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
It looks like you made it back from the Monsters of Rock cruise unscathed, huh?
Certainly did. Lucky I was on the ship. We got called at the last minute. Larry Moran, who puts it all together, gave me a call like 8 days beforehand. Said, "Have your information, vaccine card, your negative COVID test, and we want Enuff Z'Nuff on the boat."
How?
And I said,
go ahead.
anytime you can open for Alice Cooper, you're going to jump at that.
Yeah, no kidding. How quick did that come together for you guys? Because I know there was some bands that dropped out and stuff and weren't able to make it for whatever reasons.
Made it pretty quickly. Some of the bands, I don't know why they didn't. It's none of my business anyway why they didn't make it. But obviously we're having problems getting over and navigating the terrain. We had 8 days to pull it all together, and we did.
Nice. You know, one of the things, because I did catch your the first set you guys did, which you mixed in quite a bit of the material from Hard Rock Night on there. You know, it was featured prominently on that, along with some of the classics and stuff. Was that the initial plan, to insert some of the material from that record?
It certainly was. Well, it was Larry Moran who said, "I want some Beatles songs. I love that Hard Rock Night record." We did a Monsters of Rock live streaming show with them in July of last year, and it was very successful. And Larry was the one who said, "Hey, you know what? You guys should take that on the road." So we finished the record, the Hard Rock Night record, and then when he called us for the gig, he said, "You're going to be playing with Alice Cooper and Tokyo Motor Fist and a bunch of other wonderful bands like Winger and Slaughter, Faster Pussycat. I'm gonna need some of those Beatles songs in the set." And I said, "No problem. We can accommodate you."
Right.
And that was a nice little way to get out there and play in front of the fans, and they could hear the Enuff Z'Nuff classics along with our new record. It was a nice little hodgepodge of a potpourri, so to speak, of what we're all about today. And why wouldn't we play some of those songs? They resonate. They're timeless material. And Lennon and McCartney are prolific writers beyond belief, along with Ringo and Paul and George, I should say.
Right.
And we wanted to make sure that it was a real celebration. That's why we brought those Beatles songs to the boat, and we do them in concert as well. I think it's important. If we don't go out as Enuff Z'Nuff and we do nothing but Beatles songs, we call it the Beatles Rock Show. And it looks better on the marquee anyway.
Right,
and,
right.
And people come in there and they hear these songs, and it's done. It's a reinterpretation. We're not a tribute band. We're not a cover band, but we're playing songs from one of the greatest bands in the world and our forebears.
Right.
The guys who had done it before us, and we're paying respect to them. And we love the songs, and they're timeless. And that's why we do the Beatles songs.
Yeah, and you know, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, you were part of that Monsters of Rock pandemic streaming concert series and stuff, and I viewed that. Was the record already in the works prior to that set that you guys did, or was that inspired because of?
No, it was already in the works. I had a meeting. I mentioned it before. I'll say it to you too, Brett, my friend. Where a big promoter called me in Los Angeles, and me and my agent from Artists Worldwide, Chuck Burnell, went down to meet him. He wanted to put together a super group of Paul Gilbert from Mr. Big, Gilby Clarke from Guns N' Roses, Ray Lucier, and myself, and play nothing but Beatles songs. It never came to fruition. I really thought it would, because I'm good friends with those cats. Mm-hmm. Would have been a lot of fun. It just didn't happen, and that gave me the idea of, why don't I just go out and do a whole Beatles record performed by Enuff Z'Nuff, Tony Fennell, Tori Stoff Reagan, Daniel Benjamin Hill, and myself, and that's what we did.
Right. And then, then you have your solo record, Perfectly Imperfect, which is coming out March 18th. How long has that been marinating?
Except for the one song, which was the first single, Heaven in a Bottle, which I co-wrote with Donnie. Uh-huh. It's a brand new record, new songs. I looked at the world, and I come up with these tunes, and just like everybody else does, we're inspired by all the foliage and the fodder that's out there in the country, and it's basically my love letter to the new generation.
Right.
And it's a rock solid record, and I went out and got some good guys to play with me on it as well. I got Joel Holstra from Whitesnake Trans-Siberian Orchestra on the record, along with Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick, and Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses on the last track, an old Mott the Hoople cover called Honolulu Boogie that he recorded over at my house when he was living here 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was going to say,
the old days, Steve would come in here. I'd be making records in my studio out here in Blue Island, and bands would come in here every single day to track. And I would tell Steve in the morning, "Hey man, can you get on the drums and play some beats for me? I just want to get the sounds together." And he played all those old Guns N' Roses stuff from Appetite for Destruction, and all those swing beats. He's a huge fan of Queen. He loves Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And we'd smoke a couple of joints, and he'd play drums for 20 minutes, and he'd throw the sticks away. I had all those drum tracks, and I just went around. I wrote a bunch of songs around it. And I bet you I got Adler on about 2 albums worth of material.
Oh, my God.
And the fans love to hear him playing. He doesn't do a lot of records.
Right.
So it's cool to hear his drumming on new stuff, and especially playing with me, because we spent 7 years of my life living on and off with him in Studio City and here in Blue Island. We toured all around the country together, all through South America, all through Europe, here in the United States. And it was great memories there. And I was his babysitter. I'm the one who kept it together. Even during the time when he was doing Celebrity Rehab, I was a brother of his that watched over him, because I never fell into the substance abuse. But there's other things I liked that he did, most notably South Park, American Dad, Family Guy. He loves the cartoons. Right. We share a love of cartoons, and we share a love of making records. And we both love Queen. And whenever we got in the studio to play, something always came good of it. This is not the first record he's been with me. We did an EP with Adler's Appetite, and then before that, in 2014, he's playing drums on my solo record, which is called Strange Times. And Strange Time is on Cleopatra Records, by the way.
Okay.
And so Stephen and I go back a long ways, very familiar with his stuff. Great moments together playing on stage. I was with him when we were in England, and we were playing the Camden Underworld, and Duff came up and hung out with us backstage, and we sang Skyrocket and Flight Afternoon Delight right before we get on stage. That was the ritual. And Duff goes, "Wow, is that cool? I've never seen anybody do that before." I said, "Hey, you want to come up and play?" He says, "Chip, I'm just here to support you guys." And then I go, "Well, if you change your mind, let me know." And 3 songs into the set, and it was sold out at the Camden, by the way. 800 people were in there. I look over his side of the stage, and there you stand there, and I go, I nod to him, he nods to me. I handed my 1963 Fender Precision Jazz bass to him, and he played with Steven for the first time in 20 years on stage to him. My Michelle and Paradise City, and I think they might have even done Night Train. There's 2 or 3 songs. The fans went crazy, standing ovation, and it was great to be there for those kind of moments when these guys get together and make music. And of course, on their 20th anniversary, we played the Key Club together, all of us, with Duff and with Izzy Stradlin, and those are memories you can't take away. And I'm glad to be a part of that whole little thing, even if it's a small little indelible mark.
Right.
I'm happy to be a part of it, and it's great to have him on the record.
Yeah. Now, what about, I know we were talking earlier about Hard Rock Night and how, you've incorporated that into Enuff Z'Nuff sets or have done standalone sets and stuff. Now, for anything off Imperfectly Perfect, I mean, is there any plans of doing any live stuff, or would you insert that into Enuff Z'Nuff sets, or how do you plan on doing something there to promote this one?
No, I'm promoting it I just shot a video with Jaffe Films. The first video was Heaven in a Bottle. Mm-hmm. And then we just put another video out for the second single, which is called Party Time. Welcome to the Party, I should say. Party Time is my brother's record. And Welcome to the Party, that's out right now on YouTube. And then I'm doing radio junkets and press junkets all around the country. Mm-hmm. So I'll get the record out that way. Obviously, social media. That's the way to go now with Deezer and iTunes and Spotify and Apple Music. But if I'm going to play these songs live, I like to do it outside of Enuff Z'Nuff. Mm-hmm. I think when people want to see the Enuff Z'Nuff show, they want to hear the hits, New Thing, Fly Michelle, Baby Loves You, and then the newer material that we've put out in the last 4 or 5 years. I want to focus on that right there moving forward. and give it a nice little potpourri of a set of Enuff Z'Nuff songs. And solo stuff is precisely that. It's more of a chance for me to spread my wings and put some more songs out there, and for movies, soundtracks, TV shows, commercials, etc.
Right.
To go out and play live and do those shows, I'm not sure I'll have time this year to do that. It could happen, and I never count anything out. But right now, my plate is full with Enuff Z'Nuff. And Tori Stoff Reagan, Daniel Benjamin Hill, Tony Fennell, those guys, they want to go out and do shows, and we want to push our records. So perhaps you'll see some of the solo stuff outside of Enuff Z'Nuff in the future.
Right. And you mentioned, Tony's back. So what prompted the return? Because I thought, I had caught you guys live a number of times with him in the band, and he was just a perfect fit, and then kind of disappointed when he left and went and did something else. But then he's back, so that's excellent.
Yeah, Tony Fennell took a little bit of a break and take care of his family. And we had Alex Kane from Life, Sex, and Death coming back into the fold. One of the original guitar players of Enuff Z'Nuff. And then Alex, his mother, was going through some health issues. He needed to spend time. He couldn't go on tour with us. But she knows he's a veteran. The guy's a smart guy. He's been around for a long time. And he says, I'm going to have to step aside right now. And I called Tony up on the phone. He was singing with One in Rome. And he says, mate, I've been waiting for you to call me. I want to come back. I'm ready to do it now. Things are good at home. And he came back into the fold. And it's been like that ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys have a tight band. I mean, this is a tight band.
Yeah, these cats show up every single day, and it's never just mailing it into the crowd. We love the audiences out there. The last 3 tours we've done together: Ace Frehley, Jack Russell's Great White, and of course Faster Pussycat. All those shows are well attended, and there's some bigger tours on the horizon for us coming up soon. And I promise I'll let everybody know about it when it happens. The first one I can say is starts in June, and it's called the Glam Slam Metal Jam Tour. And it's Enuff Z'Nuff, Pretty Boy Floyd, the Midnight Devils, and there's one other band on there, and that's going to be incredible. And that'll be going through until July, and then there's an even bigger tour for us that starts in September, and that one's called the Peacemaker Tour. There's a series that's on right now on TV called Peacemaker.
Oh, right.
We have a bunch of songs that are in there, and I think we're going to go out with Nashville Pussy and maybe Hardcore Superstars. There's quite a few bands that are on there, and that's going to run all through September and October. So we're set up because at the end of the year we're going to go to Europe, and we're going to tour over there. We're going to do Hard Rock Hell with the Darkness in Skid Row, and then we'll go out and do a tour through not only the UK, but we'll probably hit Europe as well. So I look at this as a pretty full schedule right now, and 3 records that we recorded in the last 6 months. That's a lot of work. We haven't stopped.
Right.
I can't wait to get in that little Oscar Mayer wiener wagon and take it on the road.
You mentioned Heaven in a Bottle, and obviously that's something that you mentioned co-written with Donnie and stuff. How far does that tune go, and what's the story behind that?
It's an old song that for some reason slipped through the cracks when I was looking at our discography. We just put out a 4-song record called Demos and Rarities through Cleopatra. And that one for some reason didn't make the 4th quarter. It's been sitting in the vault for all these years. So I said, I want to redo the song. I called Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick. I said, hey, will you come out and play with me? And we record a few songs, and we ended up recording half the record with Dax. And that was one of the first tracks. And it pays respect to the bands we come with that were before us. Love groups like Cheap Trick, of course, Squeeze, Split Ends. It's a colorful song. It's a little tidbit that I thought people would be excited to hear. Something Donnie and I wrote a long time ago that they can celebrate. And I think it's a good song. It's a good video.
Yeah.
And maybe if I go to radio stations, maybe I'll play that one acoustically because I did an acoustic version of it for the bonus track for Japan. Good song though. A nice little pop song that. Yeah. That's the one great thing about songs. They just don't go away. If they're good, they'll stick with you. And that one was no exception.
Right. And then you also mentioned the Mott the Hoople cover, which that's the one Adler plays on. What's the significance behind that one? That one's got to mean something to you for you to add that to the record to close things out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the fans want to hear Steven.
Yeah.
I really do. I really believe that they love us playing together. And that was an old track that we did. We both love Mott the Hoople because we're huge Queen fans. And Mott the Hoople was responsible for taking Queen out on their first tour. And, of course, everybody knows Mott the Hoople from the song All the Young Dudes that was written by David Bowie. But that's a formidable English band. It's been around for 50 years. And we've always paid respect to our forebears. Love Mott the Hoople beyond belief. Steven's drumming, as soon as you hear it, you go, it's Guns N' Roses right away, just his drums. He's got a great swing like nobody else out there. I thought it was a nice little present for the fans out there, and I'm sure Steven thinks the same.
Right. I Still Hail You is my current favorite on the record. What's the backstory behind that one?
I wrote a song about all my friends and constituents and people around the world that have touched my heart in a certain way. And I just paying respect to them, that's all. You know, I don't really like to tell everybody what the songs are exactly about because I like to leave the interpretation up to the listener. But that was pretty self-explanatory. It's all brothers and friends and constituents around the country that we've crossed paths and they've left an indelible mark.
Right. Well, one of the things about you is you have your own radio show on the Dash Radio Network. How did you get approached about doing that? Because you've been doing that for a bit now.
Yeah, a couple of years ago they called me. I had no idea that there was over 100 million people that had visited the station, 30 million subscribers. I found out later on that after they called me and said, would you be interested in doing this radio show? I said, yeah, I'll check it out. A guy named Harlan Hendrickson called me. He's the owner of Monsters of Rock. And so I went down to Los Angeles to the Dash Network, did a couple weeks of shows, interviewed a bunch of stars out there. My show is mostly just playing hard rock and heavy metal. And it's A through Z. We got 75,000 songs we pick from. It's really a good station as opposed to your terrestrial radio, which is the same 20 songs a day. Although we all love radio, I grew up on radio, like most of us.
Right.
I think it's a station that provides a great service, commercial-free. You got Snoop Dogg on there, Be Real from Cypress Hill, the Kardashians. You know, Kylie Jenner's got her own show. A lot of cool different characters on there. I'm on there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And anybody can get it. It's the next satellite radio, folks. There's 2 satellite stations, Sirius XM and Dash Radio. And it's nice to have an audience of over 900,000 people a day listening to our show. Rudy Sarzo's on the program. Harlan, my program director, has also got his own show. Carrie Stevens from the Playboy Network. She was grew up with Hefner and them. Oh, and she's very easy on the eyes. And ClaudiaComedy.com. Check her out, too. She's really good. Extraordinary talent that's on the Monsters of Rock on the Dash Radio Network. I'm lucky to be on the show. I'm on 6 days a week,
Right.
And I get a chance to push all the tours. All my friends and constituents give them love and play the finest hard rock and heavy metal imaginable. And it's not just hits, okay? It's A through Z, as I've said before.
Right. Right. I just got a couple more things, and then I'll cut you loose. Thank you for your time. You know, when would you say was the last time you had any interaction with Stern, Howard Stern? He still brings up Enuff Z'Nuff from time to time. In fact, I think during this pandemic, I can think of at least 3 times where either your music or just conversation about Enuff Z'Nuff's come up. But have you had any recent interaction with him at all?
No, a few years ago, and Howard and I would get along great. We're really close, and I've been to his house.
Mm-hmm.
Been and had dinners with him. We've done a lot. I've been in that program 14 or 15 times.
Right.
Not with Enuff Z'Nuff, with Stephen Adler, too, is when he was doing his book. And then we came through town. We'd stop in and see him. I did Gary Delabati's show, the wrap-up show a couple of years ago. That was cool.
Yeah.
But I haven't been in Howard's show. We reached out to him, though. We wanted to come on for the new strong. I think they need a little bit more of a story to get up on that show, but perhaps he'll have us on again.
Yeah.
I love that he talks about us still, and we're his underdog brothers.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy. We've certainly got a lot of history with him, and I'm grateful for that.
Right. Just a couple more things just to wrap up, and again, thanks for your time, but what's something that Chip Z'Nuff doesn't leave home without prior to going on tour?
That's pretty simple. My guitar.
What if
everywhere.
what if we took the bass guitar out of the equation?
Then I would just say my wallet. Okay,
Your
gotta
wa-
have the wallet because it's got the debit card in there,
There you go.
and
And
my ID and my passport.
there you go.
I never leave home without the passport, by the way, because I don't know when I'm going to jump on a plane. It could be any minute.
Yeah, it's true. Especially, I mean, this is a perfect example. Just getting the call from Monsters of Rock to be part of that within what 8 days or whatever you said. You know.
Yeah, I'm prepared. My passport lasts until 2029. I'm in good shape, and all I got to do is walk through because I'm with Clear. So I just walk right through at the airport, show my mug, don't have to show any IDs or nothing. It's great.
Last one. What's the best way to pass some time on tour if not on stage?
Maybe watching some English football.
Ah,
It's a good way to pass time because my guitar player, Tony Fennell, from Birmingham, he loves English football. I like watching it too. Maybe a little tennis with Tori Stoffregan. We're always watching all those tennis matches all the time, you know, big fans of sports in our band.
nice.
And that's about the best way to pass time because usually I'm doing interviews or I'm going to a radio station or I'm driving the vehicle to get to the next gig.
So you're driving the Oscar Mayer
Mayer
Wiener
Wiener
movie. There you go.
I do take that. Hey, in the old days, it was easier for us. We had a tour bus, but then again, we had a Brinks truck full of Jack Daniels and Crown Royal and vodka and gin mixed along with Pablo Escobar and Cheech and Chong. So that's a road that you don't want to travel when you get to be our age. But we've changed our disposition. I think that's a focused band.
Uh-huh.
We want to show up and we want to have a great show every single night. Not to say we're not partying. We love the fans. We love burning the candle at both ends. But
Wow.
at the end of the day, we want to be able to do it the next day as well.
Well, there's no doubt. I'm looking forward to catching you guys on whatever of these 2 tours that you guys got coming up, because it sounds like you're bound to hit the Northwest and Portland, Oregon area. So I'm bound to see you guys sometime before the end of the year again. So looking forward to that, Chip.
Thank you, buddy. Yeah, like I said, June starts the Glam Slam Metal Jam Tour with Enuff Z'Nuff, Pretty Boy Floyd, the Midnight Devils on Pavement Records, and one other band. And then September, Nashville Pussy, Enuff Z'Nuff, and a cast of characters on that run as well. That's called the Peacemaker Tour.
Boy.
So 2 tours coming up. I think we got some dates coming up along with, we're playing at that big festival with Kiss. Actually, it's with Ace Frehley. And Peter Criss will be on that along with Vinny and Bruce Kulick. And it's called the Creatures Fest. And that's in May.
Okay.
And I think we got some shows coming up outside of that with Tesla and a few other bands too. So we'll be springing along little dates. Anybody wants to find out what Enuff Z'Nuff is doing, it's pretty simple in this day and age. Just go to enuffznuff.com, ENUFF.ZNUFF.com, or Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, where we're pretty easy to get a hold of.
Right. All right, man. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks to you and the guys over at Sleaze Rock, Ruben. Listen,
Yep.
have a wonderful year. I'll see you on tour, buddy.
Yep. Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.